Hey everybody, it's Missy. Thanks for joining me today. I have a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and this is my second layout for the month using the 2017 January kits. And these are the three papers from the main kit and paper kit that I'm going to start with. They just kind of jumped out at me as looking really pretty mixed together. The two papers with the blue and white are Hip Kit Club exclusives, and then that beautiful pink and orangey watercolor paper is from Pink Paisley Moonstruck. And so I pulled out some white cardstock, and I'm just going to try to use some of these pattern papers to create an interesting look on the background. And I'm going to use a strip of that paper from the middle because I liked that it had some of the darker pinks, the oranges, and the lighter pinks together. And then I'm going to cut a couple strips from that chevron paper and this polka dot paper to bring in some blue. And I'm just going to try to start creating a vertical design here with this as my base. And I don't know what picture I'm going to use. I have a couple picked out that I'm going to play around with. And while I think they all would look good, I settled on either one of the two on the right. Black and white, you know, mostly will go with anything. But sometimes a color photo looks really nicely depending on the colors in the picture and then depending on the colors that you're using. And so I wanted to get a little bit more done first before I decided on the picture. So I'm just going to start to adhere these paper strips down and start to go from there. This is kind of one of those layouts where I didn't really have a design idea in mind. I just knew I wanted to use lots of pattern paper. Well, for me, because I tend to not use a bunch of pattern papers. So I wanted to use pattern paper mostly in the center there, like I have. So I'm going to build a little bit behind my picture in the meantime. I decided to go with this color one. This is a picture of me and a few of my really close friends. And I'm going to play around with the background. You know me, I have to add some gesso and I have to add some kind of paint or watercolor. So I'm going to use some white gesso in my hand to just kind of create a diagonal flow of the gesso from the upper right hand corner all the way down to the lower left hand corner. So kind of going gradually diagonally from right to left. Excuse me. While that's drying, I'm going to build a couple of layers behind my picture using a little bit more of that chevron blue paper and a couple of the Project Life cards. And I'm just trying to keep the color scheme the same with that coral pink color, some white, and some of the blue. And I'm just going to play around here. I pulled out some embellishments. Those are some of the exclusive to Hip Kit flowers. And I thought, well, I'm not sure yet. Let me go and just continue to work on my background. Now, this is the Heidi Swap blue texture paste that came in this month's color kit. And I'm going to do a little bit of a different technique than what it's intended for. I'm going to do the packaging technique first with it. And as you can see, it really lightens it up because when you add water to it and you thin it out, of course, it's going to get a little bit lighter. And I was just trying to match that blue color in the papers. And I just wanted a bit of soft blue going across the page here, nothing too drastic. So the packaging technique is perfect for that. And this texture paste is great because the color is very nice and soft when I do this. And you can even add a little more water and do some splatters with it. Now I decided I wanted it a little darker, so I'm going to come in with some of the Jenny B Blue Vibes from Shimmers, and we got that several color kits ago. It's one of my favorite colors of blue, and I'm just going to go over and kind of layer it on top of some of this texture paste here, just to add a little bit more of a bolder color. Now I'm going to use the texture paste the way it's intended. The first way it's supposed to probably be intended is that's to use it through a stencil, except I'm going to use it through a brush, or with a brush, instead of a palette knife. I want just a little bit of the shape from this houndstooth stencil that we got in the color kit, and the brush didn't work perfectly well. It kind of smudged a lot of it, but that's okay. I mainly just wanted some interest and some texture and a little bit of shape going on in the background, and I thought this would be a good way to get that. So there you can see, it gives me some bumpy texture, it darkens up the page a little bit, and I also did some stitching. This was the next day. I let it dry, and I did a little bit of white machine stitching up the edges, so now I can ruffle up the edges of my paper here. And I like the way this is looking. I like the variations of the blues. Some of it looks watercolor, some of it looks like I flicked the brush, and some of it you can tell that I used the stencil. So it's just mixing and matching, and just for me, it's all about getting the texture and just different looks. And so that's exactly how I wanted it to look. So I'm glad that I did that. And now I'm going to start working on embellishing here. And this is just preliminary playing around here. I pulled a lot of the ephemera from the Moonstruck from Pink Paisley, in addition to some of those exclusive flowers designed by Kim Watson. This love sticker is from the One Canoe 2 sticker sheet. I don't wind up using it, but it does match. I really wanted to use that ampersand, but it does not stay on the page. I'm trying to build my title here, and I'm going to pull in some of these white Studio Calico puffy stickers. They're nice and bendable, so they stick really well, and they move around really nicely. So this paper, I think a lot of people have already fussy cut some of these flowers. They're so pretty, and they're so sketchy and artsy and kind of messy looking, and I love that. And they're white with gray leaves. And this is one of the exclusive Hip Kit papers this month. So I'm just going to fussy cut out a few of these flowers to use as layers here and there. Sorry I keep coughing. It's in the morning, and I haven't done much talking yet until now, so this is my morning voice. So my title is going to be Beautiful Friends. The beautiful is from Moonstruck, and that little banner is from Moonstruck, and then I just added friends to it. One of my favorite parts of the kit this month, these beautiful Hazelwood One Canoe 2 butterfly rub-ons. And in order to give them some dimension, first thing I'm going to do is rub them onto some scrap cardstock here, and then fussy cut them out. And that way you can put them wherever you want on the page, and you can add a little bit of glue in the middle of them, and then you can fluff up the wings so they get some dimension. And you can also rub them directly onto your page, but since I have all that gesso and all the bumpy texture, I didn't think it would turn out really well. And that's not exactly where they're going to go. They're just kind of laying on the page at this moment. So in one of the butterflies up there on the left, she's got that darker pink color. So I thought I was going to add a little bit of a darker pink tone to my background. So I pulled out a couple of shimmers from my stash, and I'm going to add in some gelatos because this is not the right shade of pink at this point. And I didn't know if I had made a mistake. I thought, oh, this is too much. What am I doing? What am I doing? But I pulled out a red gelato and added to it, and it turned out to be the perfect shade of pink to match that butterfly there on the left. And I just do a lot of dabbing. I add my brush and kind of just smush some of the color, and then smush it down even further with the plastic, and then dab it up with the napkin. Yeah, a little bit of red gelato goes a long way. So if you're trying to make a pink tone with a red gelato, be careful because it is very bold. So I like how that looks. I'm going to add a couple of splatters from one of my, I think this is Pretty in Pink, from one of my shimmers from my stash. And, you know, honestly, at this point in the layout, I was not even sure that I really liked it. I came this close to just chunking it and starting over. And I thought, no, just keep working at it. Just keep working at it. It's not as hideous as you think it is. Or maybe it is. I just kept going. I do like the colors on it. But for some reason, I don't know. It wasn't I wasn't totally in love with it. And I wasn't thinking, oh, this is one of my most favorite layouts ever. Do you have layouts like that where you like it but you're not sure if you like it, and then I don't know, mixed emotions. Scrapbooking, mixed emotions. In the grand scheme of life, it's just a scrapbook page, right? Okay, so I'm going to continue to play with the embellishments here and to try to decide where I want what. I'm definitely going to try to stick with the diagonal look here. I decide I need another one of these flowers to even it out on the right of the photo. So I just kind of lightly stick it back there so you can see it peeking out. And then I realized this Project Life card had the same design on it, but smaller. And I thought that was perfect. So I want to bring one of those flowers down to the lower left-hand cluster that I'm going to make. And so that little flower was perfect. So now it echoes the big flowers. And that's a little label sticker from One Canoe 2. And then I'm going to use one of these cute little, once I figure out how to get it on there without covering up the little heart. This is rocket science, y'all, let me tell you. Got it. Finally got it. Even though it's crooked, I don't care. It's fine. I decided to leave that part alone and go into my tangled thread thing here and add some of that darker teal color. I was really all over the place with this layout. I would go from one part of it to the other part of it, ignore the other part of it, then come back to this part of it. That happens to me a lot when I'm not completely in love with it. It just kind of, I don't know, I'm all over the place. But I did decide to add some of those exclusive letters that were in the die cut pack, the happy letters there. Those are in the same exclusive pack as those flowers. So at this point, I decided just to glue the stuff down already. Keeps moving, I keep hitting it. That's where it's gonna go. Just glue it down and make sure it's straight. So I'm going to add some foam to things here. And I am going to add my journaling on top of that little label piece there. And I kind of like that the camera's crooked. It wouldn't go on anymore since it's got that little heart piece on it. I think it looks kind of cute like that. So then I decided later on in the day when I got cold and put on a long sleeve shirt, that's why I have on sleeves now, I'm going to add a little bit of blue to these flowers. And so I just used some of the Jenny B blue and a paintbrush just to add a little bit of blue to these flowers. I'm going to add a little cut apart piece here as part of my little cluster down at the bottom, and it says love this day. And it's white and blue, so it matches the color scheme. And I also did some stitching across the word happy. I don't know if you can see that. And that's one of those, another metal clips. I'm just going to glue it down as a layering piece up at the top, and then I'm going to come in with a couple of these wood veneer circles with the hearts cut out. I'm liking this more and more now that I'm continuing to add in the little bits and pieces. I do like it. Gonna add a couple more little things here, some of these little puffy stickers from Moonstruck. I did get all the butterflies glued down. I'm going to finish this off with some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine since the word beautiful has some gold in it, and then I'm using a couple of those gold paper clips. So I thought, yes, add some gold. Now there's my journaling. I typed it out and printed it, and it just says hanging out with my friends. And I'm going to attempt to glue them down to this little piece here without removing that paper clip. Things I should have thought of in a different order, but didn't. Yeah. Now, where's this last piece going to go? Yep, I just made it work. And this is the One Canoe 2 date stamp that we got in one of the kits. I'm going to add that down at the bottom. And then I decided last minute, I need some more of these little blue dots since the little strip on the left has them. I felt like I needed a couple over there on the right, so I just punched them with my little teeny tiny cute as a button circle punch, and then I'm just going to glue them down over here on the right just to give some more hints of the blue, and that is going to finish it up. I kind of like how it turned out now that I look at it as a finished product, but when I was making it I thought, what is this? What am I doing? But I like it. I like how it turned out. I do like the pops of blue against that pretty pink and the peachy orange color, and those butterflies are definitely my favorite. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too stressful for you to watch. Sometimes it's stressful for me to put together, but in the end, I like how it turned out. So let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did here today. Make sure you visit hipkitclub.net, and hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for watching.